right, so look, the entire country is experiencing extreme weather, and we are heading into a record low winter. Today, extreme weather expert and author Thomas Costigan is here, and he's going to give us the ultimate survival guide for keeping our families safe this winter. Welcome, Thomas. Look, a Farmer's Almanac, which is rarely wrong,
If ever, you're right.
says we are heading into one of the lowest or coldest winters. It's just remarkable after last year what we saw.
What's remarkable is that this month, every state in the union, including Hawaii, has seen below freezing temperatures.
Is that
so,
right?
yeah, it's crazy. So you're seeing it play out because of these bigger storms in the oceans that get that polar vortex out of whack, or the jet stream, and that Arctic air starts to come down and really makes things bitter cold.
Is this an anomaly, or is it something that, I mean, it hasn't happened before in the history of the Earth? Because I understand in the 70s it was pretty cold, just like we're experiencing right now.
Everything that does happen happens in cycles, and this is one of those cycles. We're just going through it and feeling it in a cold, cold way right now.
All right, would you, not to be an alarmist, but should we be worried? Should we look at this and say, because you hear global warming and you see the ripple effect and you see glaciers melting?
Yeah, I mean, we should all be prepared. You know,
For what?
We don't want to say that the sky is falling, so we have to be prepared for. I just interviewed the head of the National Weather Service last week and asked him the exact same question, you know, what do we do? What are we in for?
Yes, what is it?
And you don't know, really, because forecasting is an art more than a science, but they do know that this is going to be an extremely cold winter, so the almanac is correct. But the good news is El Nino, which is unexpected. That usually creates a lot more storms, but it allows them to better predict where those storms are going to happen and when they're going to happen.
Well, if you say
good news.
El Nino, then here in California, is the weather going to get hot again?
It has been hot. It's going to continue to be hot, and we may even be in for, you know, record temperatures that we've already seen. 2014 is the hottest year on record.
Yeah,
it's pretty brutal. Yeah.
But on the flip side is the cold, which most of this country is experiencing. As we joked, we're so blessed, and we take a lot of it for granted. How do we, you know, as a kid, I used to go outside and I'd be playing, and my fingers would be numb, and I'd come in thinking, you know, I frostbite. You know, where's that threshold between I'm just really cold because you start to get numb and when you should really
be careful?
help?
Yeah, I mean, there's that weather whiplash. So hot here, cold in the east. And when you're out, I had the same thing. I grew up in Massachusetts, and be out there just without a hat on. And by the way, you don't emit more heat out of your head, despite what your mother might have told you when you were a kid.
Is that true?
That's a myth.
Really?
Yeah, still should keep a hat on, though. So your skin being exposed is the #1 thing to prevent. So when you look at hypothermia, kids whose immune systems haven't developed enough, or if you're on the downside of that and you're an elderly person, really pay attention to when you get cold. When you shiver, it's your body trying to wake up and really make it warm.
Wow. We're really concerned out here in Southern California and basically the whole Southwest because of the drought. Is there any end in sight to this?
There may be a 200-year drought in California, and you talked about historical times. It has happened for 200 years during Paleolithic times that the drought has stayed right here. And the freaky thing about that is on the tail end of that, paleo floods. So half the state would be just like Noah's Ark here.
Wow.
So not to freak people out and not to go to that doomsday type of scenario, but we have to prepare, whether you're elderly or whether you're a kid or just a normal adult, for extreme weather, because that's what we're going through, the heat and the cold that we just mentioned, and don't forget about precipitation.
Why are we going through all this? Have they been able to find a reason?
There's a lot of work, and attribution science is what they call it. Can you pin it to climate change? Not yet. Have temperatures increase the amount of moisture in the air so you get those big snowstorms, those big rainfalls that you see in Long Island or Colorado or Phoenix that flooded just a couple of months ago.
Sure.
And that's what happens. When there's more warm air, it sucks moisture out of the ground and then gets rattled loose, precipitation.
Then it comes back down.
You keep saying that we need to be prepared. What should we be, now, you know, the different parts of the country, what should we be prepared for? What do we do?
Sure, well, look at cold weather, for example. Obviously, layering is a big deal, huge deal. So don't wear tight underwear. Keep a little bit of room in there so your body
What does that do when you keep it loose versus tight?
Yeah, you keep your body heat in. So it allows your heat to, your body heat to actually circulate throughout your skin. If it's too tight, the heat just goes away.
And your body can't breathe.
And your body
Yeah,
body
that's
can't
interesting.
Can we talk about, I'm not the smartest guy, but I sit here and I go, we're in such a drought, and I go, but there's a body of ocean there. Now, I know it's a saltwater situation, but is that an answer in any way whatsoever?
Desalinization, is that an answer?
Desalination is one of the technologies that everybody looks at, because you look at, wow, there's a Pacific Ocean out there. You can put all of the land on Earth in the Pacific Ocean, and you still have more ocean. That's how big it is, right? But for every pound of water that you get out of the salt water, you have a pound of toxic waste. So what do you do with the toxic waste? Desalination plants are twice as expensive to build as water treatment plants. So conserving water, xeriscaping here in California, 75% of all the residential water use is for lawns here in Southern California and into Arizona. So if we can do things like xeriscaping, big word, but it means more drought-tolerant plants, some dirt, some rocks, still beautiful.
And that also makes you feel like you're participating and doing something.
And that's the big issue.
Because we have no control over it. So with the watering less, being aware, recycling, those things keep your hand at least like you're participating.
Well, Mark has done that. You've done that in your home. Where
I just put a Sinlon in, and it's remarkable, the difference, and it looks fantastic.
And also plants that you hardly need to water.
I have agaves. I have low water plants throughout my entire backyard that basically thrive in the desert.
I have one of these in my house. I want to know if I need more, but let's go through what's in this survival kit.
Yeah, the three things to get through any disaster, just real quick, is understanding the situation, so weather alerts, staying on top of it, having a plan, meeting with your family, having an evacuation plan, and then supplies.
Sure.
So this is what I like to call a go bag, kind of like what we see in spy movies for the home, for the car, for the office, but it has everything in it that you'll need to survive. So think about like a micro set of your life. Dry food, water, some shelter, so there's some blankets there. There's the best one, I think, here, which is an 8-in-1 tool, which has a compass, has a thermometer, really, really important flashlight, glow sticks. We were just talking about dangerous times when the power goes out. People go right to lighting those matches for candles. Well, if there's any type of gas leak, that can be dangerous. So glow sticks, really important.
How much water? How much water?
About a gallon for every person in the house a day. So
really, so that's quite a bit.
This is water.
That is water, yeah.
Why is it packaged differently? Could you just throw a couple bottles in?
Yeah, well, you could, yeah. And what I actually like is a water contamination filter that you could put into a water bottle. That way you don't have to worry about carrying this around or stashing, all sorts of, water.
And you know what I like about this, since it is the holidays, instead of bringing a bottle of wine or some sort of baked goods, this would be a great, I would say, like a hostess gift. I know it's sort of not, it's sort of random, but every family
It's very thoughtful.
Every family should have one of these.
Right.
And it just makes it look like you're taking care of the people you love.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's about, preparing and then really being conscious and careful.
That's great.
Wonderful. Thomas, thank you so much for helping us out. Good information. We got to see you breaking the weather soon. You can pick up Thomas's book, Extreme Weather Survival Guide, Understand, Prepare, Survive, Recover. It's on Amazon. You can pick it up. There it is, right there. I may have to take that one with me.
Welcome to it all.
There you go. We're coming back. Dr. JJ is up next.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about postpartum depression and what we can all do to help make it better.